working on this guy. I got my brushes and my palette here somewhere. I have this one. So I'm having trouble taping this down and getting it a flat surface to paint on, which is like, you know, a necessary first step. So I thought I would do this brown paper bag you see underneath. But I'll show you. This didn't work because it's so bumpy. You need to have it taped down and held flat in order to work on it. So on the other one I did it here, you can see it was much smaller, so I just taped it to the cardboard back. So this one, you know, is a little bit bigger than that. It's, you know, it fills the whole piece of chipboard. So I'm just going to have to tape it down to this and see how it goes. Yeah, so I think it'll be okay. I do wish, though, that I just had something, basically a piece of chipboard that was just even bigger than this page, so I could tape it down to that. Or even just a piece of wood that was like that, and I could tape felt down and then tape it down to that. But this is, we're going to make this work. I finished all the line work today, actually. And I cleaned up anything that could be erased that wasn't part of the piece. I tried to erase all of that. It just happens sometimes when you're working with pencil. I tried to be really careful to make sure it didn't happen too much. And I think I was successful with that. I think it came out, you know, there wasn't a ton to erase. I'm just focusing. I want to make sure it's pulled pretty taut so it doesn't bend up when I'm working on the watercolor. Oh, my chat's hidden. I hate when it does that. Hi, Random Gamer, Robo. All right, and then we're going to start painting color. Yeah, I was trying to get this step done before I turned on the live. But I didn't. I couldn't. Yeah, so I'm taping down. Hi, Shadow Man. I'm doing good. I'm taping down this piece. It's on some watercolor paper. And then we're going to ink it with these colored inks. They're Winsor & Newton. So I'm almost done with the preparation. I usually try to, like I said, do this before I get on, but I was having trouble getting a surface. I wanted to do it on something a little bit bigger than this. That's why I like put cardboard down. I mean, opened up paper bag down. But this is the only surface that's flat enough. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I also just turned this into a coloring page, although I haven't uploaded it yet. I figured it would be fun to have just the outlines. I think the best way will be to zoom in. So this is it up close. I have mushrooms growing out of it. Oh, thank you so much, Abraham. We got some landscape in the background. These are little tardigrades. They're the like friends of the robots. Very loose lore. Hey, Melon Pip. Welcome back. I added some lights, some plugs and wires that like these robots use to connect to other robots, antennas, and then some more, you know, landscape background. Yeah. So this is the piece I've been working on for a few days, and now it's going to be the first time I ink something this large with ink. It might be the first time I've inked something this large in... Like, I've done paintings with acrylic that have been bigger than this, but I've never done, like, a sketch and then inked it this large physically. Usually I go, oh, hi, Elstefan. I do digital with this size. But yeah, I busted out these inks a few weeks ago, and I've been meaning to use them forever. And so now it's time. All right, I got my water. Right here, right here. Hi, Aylin. Yeah, I really like the idea that I'm going to make sure to drink the right one and not the left one. Vice versa. I like the idea that, like, the robots have things growing on them and like in places that they don't end up using, and that like maybe the tardigrades would get rid of them for them, but they just don't always. Like, I like that it's a symbiotic relationship, but we don't know the details of it. We don't know, like, I like that you have to think about it. Like, it's not meant to tell a story so much as make you imagine a story. Gosh, so I was thinking about it, and do I do the background first or save that for the end? I think we'll save that for the end. Okay, I got my brushes. Yeah, because if we do the whole background, then the whole thing is wet. So I think instead I'm going to work from left to right, doing like little things, and then adding color that way. All right, I want to start with, I guess, some greens then to get this over here. This is brilliant green. Here we go. I also have like a dip pen where you like dip it into the ink to use it as a like a quill, almost like a modern quill. Ooh. Thank you, Oddthud. Oddthud's my wonderful wife. She's written a children's storybook that we're illustrating on this same channel, just at different times. I do a live where I illustrate the shy octopus Blub Blub and his, so it's like a kid's book, or a picture book rather, we wrote a few years ago and then lost. And then I was really excited to illustrate it as I like got better and better at illustrating, and I was practicing. But we didn't have it anymore. We couldn't find it. And so we're moving to a great place. We're really excited about that too. We're moving, and we're packing up, and we found the Blub Blub book. All right. Gosh. Okay, can you guys see here? Let me move some stuff so I can push this around a little bit. Put these inks on this side. There we go. So now I think I can push these around so you guys can see it better. And I could even zoom in. But I'm going to put a wash down, which is just water, on some of this. Well, it feels like a lot. On some of this green here. And then we'll add green to it real quick. Like a nice light first coating of green. This is absorbing the water in a different way than the last watercolor paper I was using, and I'm really interested in that. Oh, thanks, Elstefan. Okay, once I get the brushes going, here we go. It'll be much easier. So I'm going to grab just a little bit of green and mix it in with this water here. There's a little bit of brown and stuff. I think that's good. This brilliant green is like very, very green, and I don't want that just for my backgrounds. Okay. Looking good, even though it absorbed a lot of the water. I think it's... Like I said, I haven't used this paper with these inks before. I've only done the ink 3 times total, and I've never used this paper before. It does feel like it's bending up quite a bit. I might have to try to pull it even tighter and tape it down again. Okay. So all we have to green out, why don't I go in and just touch up these little flowers. Just give them a little bit of green. Let that get in there and dry before we come in and do something like the color and the line work on these flowers. Okay, and let's do this tree. I missed this tree. All right, now once we have this down, we can start adding other colors to it, other even just layers of the same color to start giving it some different texture. Like I think probably this bush and these trees are further back than the other one, so we'll do something with that. But for now, oh hey Melon Pop, it's made to not wrinkle a little bit. It's from my understanding, it's mostly about like the texture that the tooth, like what it will catch, and the absorbency. So it does still wrinkle, and you're supposed to tape it down. That's what I learned. I didn't know that. So I was just getting wrinkly watercolor paper all the time, being like, I guess this watercolor paper is bad because it's like this wrinkling. And then one of my friends was like, I thought you did art. Like, you don't know this? And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, you tape it down. That's why it doesn't wrinkle. And it changed my life. So I'm just getting all the colors out. I'm trying to decide what to do with this tardigrade. I think let's make him purple. That sounds really fun. We'll get the purple in early. That's always joyful. Okay. I like this beat up little brush for the tardigrades because it's so like weird and imperfect that like you can't really get a smooth texture. I could trim, I guess it. Yeah, I'm just learning about the watercolor paper. I I've done it with like a program that's meant to simulate it pretty accurately a lot, and I've always thought that was fun, but if I'm perfectly honest, it's a little bit embarrassing, but I've always been afraid to use expensive paper. Like I just get so I don't know, I get so scared I'm gonna mess it up and then I'm gonna like have wasted quote unquote the paper. Which, like thinking about it now, feels so silly. Like that's how you learn to do things, is you do them. But for whatever reason, okay, I'm gonna get myself a little bit of dirty purple and just come in with a shadow here. Just mixed in a little bit of the green from before. I'm just giving him a little shadow. Them, I guess. We don't know. So for lately, I've been doing, instead of that, which is I used to do that, I've been just using the regular inks, not diluted. So probably for these trees, these pencil lines, I'll come in and augment with just green dipped directly in, or brown, depending on how it starts ending up. And I've just been using this, this is a G nib that like is used for anime a lot, manga, I guess. And yeah, I've just been using that. Yeah, I don't know when I guess it was working on the robots a couple of the last robot, the first one I was trying, and it just was something I was like, oh, I could do this, and it turned out really nice. Yeah, the G-nib, it can get really thick. It can go from very like depositing a ton of ink and getting very thick lines to being very, very thin. It's it's crazy how thin it can get. One of the thinnest, certainly of this size. Usually, like if you want something that thin, you have to go down. For me, anyway, I'd have to go down to the smaller um, nibbed pencils or pens rather. I have them here somewhere. But yeah, it's like it's the same idea, same type of pen, but it's called like a crow nib. Yeah, so it's kind of like a fountain pen, but you dip it into the ink instead of having a reservoir of ink in the pen. It's genuinely called a dip pen is the most common way to call it. So I wasn't thinking about this, but I'm gonna add just like a line of green along this horizon where like I don't know if this will be dirt or whatever, but even if it is, I think having this line of green will like complement it really nicely. I'll pull it down with some water. Okay. All right. I think it's time to start doing some of the. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sometimes I've seen them called well pens. Um, but especially in the United States, I've seen them called dip pens. And one fact I learned about them that really blew my mind. I'm going to do this, I think, in like a nice yellow. This ridge here. Oh, these are lights, so they're going to be in yellow. Hmm. Huh. Well, let's get some yellow out into a nice like clean reservoir. Okay, we're just gonna throw a tiny bit of water. Yeah, I think it can be. Um, from what I've seen, they prefer brushes, but I wonder if it's. So, oh yeah, yeah. So I know in Japanese calligraphy or handwriting, more like just regular handwriting, they bemoaned the end of the dip pen because you could no longer see which direction the stroke was being written from. And in Japanese characters, that can matter a lot. Like if the stroke is written from one direction, it means one thing. And the stroke is written from another, it can mean it's just different words, different characters. And so you can't really tell with like a ballpoint pen. So there's a lot of talk about that. It like a lot of people then can kind of tell with the ballpoint pen after like you do it for a long time. So that's also really interesting. Like and they developed like techniques for making it more apparent where you how you write the stroke. But yeah, I like researched Japanese for a few months. I learned a little bit, but mostly I just researched something for a little while and then move on. Okay, so I just did the top of this yellow, like thinking about how these lights would be spilling out some yellow onto that. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to also do the same thing to the top of this glass and maybe even the top of the tardigrade. Just like a little hint of yellow. Because of these lights. Yeah, so like So I researched dip pens because I find dip pens fascinating. I'll do this light too also. And then maybe I'll add like a tiny bit of pink onto this light to see if that will make it have like what kind of a, come on, like a tint that might have. Just because this bottom one doesn't matter, and I think that would be interesting. Oh yeah, I like that a lot. I don't know if you guys can see that. Like, should I? Maybe I'll zoom in on. I think that's good. And it was like banks and post offices were the last remaining places that dip pens were being used, and schools to teach script because cursive was in big part designed to be written with these dip pens. Let's see. I'm trying to decide what color to do this tardigrade. Like, I really like Pinky down here. I think he looks great. Oh, my voice is cracking a little bit. But I don't want to do pink again. I'm tempted to do like sort of an experiment. I'm going to just do it. I'm going to put down a very light yellow, and then I'm going to put down not the pink, I'm going to put down a very light blue and see how that looks. Sort of like having it mix between the two colors and get maybe hopefully like a really nice green. I wonder if I should like push for the ombre. Is that what it's called? Ombre? I learned that that's like, you know, like some words are gendered. Like, not in general, like in languages, some words are gendered, but some words, like in English, have like gendered, yeah, yeah, that's, I've been doing the tardigrades, just sort of whatever color takes my fancy. Oh. And so far, I've been really liking that. So this is cobalt, but I feel like you can get it really light. Like the printing they have on there, if that's cobalt, that's like really light. And I'm really interested. Oh, gamma grades, yeah. Like, how much water do I need to get that? Okay. Yeah, let's try it. I think it'll be good. Yeah, so schools, even after everyone had moved to the ballpoint pen, schools would have these dip pens. First of all, they were cheaper and you couldn't really lose them because you could chain the pen and the, like, you'd have to use the ink. So you weren't like taking the pen. But then they would use it for, yeah, gummy water. That's it. That's the trick. I don't hate this. I think it'll be look good when we come in with some other accent colors in here and really like spruce him up. It's not quite the beautiful fade from this like light blue to yellow I had imagined it, but it's not bad. I know it got like I'm trying to be careful because I'm always tempted. My like natural style is to paint these big, bright, single color like images with like no overlap and stuff. But I prefer it to not. It's just like for whatever reason, it's like my gut instinct. All right. I'm trying to think what to do next. I kind of have to do this. Let's do this light. Let's do this light like a really rusty red brown. I think that'll be fun. I got this brown, peat brown, and some deep red, which they have like an old train on, like a locomotive. They opened up a new transit museum in New York City, which has like all of the turnstiles that the city has ever used for the subway system, has all of the different subway cars it's ever used for the subway system, all on display in an old subway station. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think it is like, I agree. Like, even just this little bit, like, especially for me, the reflections here and like the different colored light here is really like, I'm feeling like, oh, it's a thing. All right, get some peat brown in there. Whoa, I did so much brown. I'm gonna have to add more red. Oh, hi, Diocilis. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm painting this tardigrade robot friendship painting. I'm using colored ink instead of watercolor. It acts a little bit differently, but I don't know watercolor or colored ink enough to tell you why. So this is my only real experience. I did two tiny robots a couple of days ago, and now I'm doing this big one. So I'm kind of learning as I go. Yeah, I think these trees settled down after the water dried up. Okay, I'll do the drum. This rust red. I think there probably will be like brush strokes left for this one, so I'm going to try to follow the contour of the shape so that the brush strokes like come across as a natural consequence of the shape or the light, or even just so it helps the illusion of creating the shape. I think I was too sacred with the water. It feels like it soaked it right up and then barely used it to spread anything around. But this is a good color. I'm liking where that came from. So it definitely helped it apply better. It like sucked it right up after I put on the wash. Um, on the previous paper I was using, it definitely helped with blending. It, I think it might a little bit here. But yeah, this paper is a little different. The last paper I used was like not specifically for watercolor, but it was nice. Oh, it got over. It must happen right at the end. There we go. Huh. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I get so confused about it. I'll start using more and more now that I feel like confident. I also feel like I shouldn't, like, that's not how I'm ever going to learn. So I'm going to stop, like, holding myself back from using watercolor paper and fancy papers and stuff. So I'll learn more and more as I use it. I'm just washing my brushes because I haven't been. Okay. All right. I like these little hangy crystally doodads. I'm wondering, I should probably paint those all different colors. So we have some deep blues. Maybe just doing some blues would be really nice, like straight blue. I don't think I've done blues anywhere else, so I think it'll like look. I'll use it probably for the glass. Yeah. I have this ultramarine that's really nice. I can mix it with this other blue. Ooh, you know what I can do? Is I'll do this other blue first, like on the top side, and then come back with the ultramarine on the bottom side, the dark side. Yeah, so I'm tempted. I don't know how I would do glowing. Like digitally, I kind of understand you overextend the color and you make the area lighter. But with watercolor, I don't really know how I would do it. It would be like a consequence of how I painted everything around it. So I'm leaving that door open because I think it would be really nice, but I'm not sure if I'll feel competent enough to accomplish that. Okay. I've already dropped some paint on the page by like moving stuff around flippantly. So I'm trying to be a little bit more careful. Ooh, so blue. Hmm. Whoa, too much? Wow. All right, this is going to be dark, but I think it's going to be nice. Oh no, I like answering questions. It's definitely, uh, yeah, it's good to answer questions. It's good to be curious. One of my favorite parts about myself is my curiosity. Like that I was interested in dip pens enough to not only like start using them and seeing how they're like, but also like learning about how they were used historically. I really liked it. That's all due to just being a curious weirdo. You know, weirdo in the for me, not you. Yeah, I like this blue a lot. I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of water and like kind of dry my brush a little, and then see go over it a little and see how that. Yeah, just give it a little blending power. Ah, now they kind of feel like glass all of a sudden once I blended them. These are so small. They're hard to work on. Okay. So I think this rock and these things are going to be this like golden orange brown. And so I think I'm going to do those. I think I'll do yellow, straight yellow, and then come in with the like the red highlights and the brown lowlights. Because I think I did some success with. Yeah, that's interesting too. It's definitely harder. So I don't know if you were here yesterday when I was talking about like the girl with the pearl earring. And like I feel like that's definitely harder to accomplish in digital art. Or at least it's not like readily understood because like you can definitely still do it, you know, like throw down the proper pixel stuff. And you see pixel artists do it all the time. Like they they put something down that just hints at the real thing and like your brain totally understands what that is. But I do think that's harder and harder with digital because you can just like zoom in and see, and as the artist you're like you want to, I don't know, it's true. I think it's probably related to the the resolution, right? Like with analog, your resolution is nearly infinite. It not practically, so, but it's way different. As you zoom in, you just get smaller and smaller particles. But if you zoom in real life, I mean in a in real life, in a computer on a digital image, it's you get down to the pixels, and or you have one of those infinite zooms, but you have to like make different choices then, I think, where like I can't zoom in after a certain point here. So like I don't have choices to make. It's just it is what it is. I don't know. It's a very complicated question. That I'm really I've never like thought about the relationship between those two things. I'm doing pink here. It just struck me. Like maybe they're warning lights telling you it's really full, or like don't forget to we got a car. Well, not our car, but there's a car that we've been uh in. It's silly. And the car, every time you turn it off, says check the back seat. And it's like what? It I don't know, it's such a strange it's so strange to me. Check the back seat. Like, all right. Ooh, I mixed up this nice purple sort of by accident. I used like green and pink actually, but this looks really nice. I think I'm gonna use it for like back here. Yeah, so this is no water compared to the other one. It definitely like spreads more. So I think like and blends maybe even better. So I think water might do the opposite of blending. I do want to water this down though. Too much water. Oh no, Nasir, it's no problem. Welcome back. How have you been? Yeah, definitely do school. Definitely do stuff like that. I'm with you. We're moving, and so like I'm definitely gonna have to do less live streams over the next like 2 weeks until we're moved into the new place and set up. But I'm trying to get some. I'm just kind of. I have these like browns and purples mixed, and I really just want like, even if this doesn't end up being the final color, just kind of getting this tint on some of these metal parts, I think is a good idea. Um, I'm trying to get like a lot of shorts done and stuff for when I won't be able to live stream, so I at least could put out some sort of video, so the algorithm doesn't forget about me. Yeah, so I'm painting with these inks. I don't know if you've shown you those. These Winsor and Newton inks, and they work sort of like watercolor. And I'm just working on, this is like a giant robot with tardigrade friends. And I'm just kind of now, I did some tardigrades. I've done some of the lights and some of the like more delicate and like having to make choices things. Yeah, so my grandmother actually, she had them for a long time, and then she gave them to me when she stopped. She was like, I'm never going to use these. And yeah, actually, my cousin had them from her. The story's still true, but then my cousin ended up grabbing them for me because I wasn't living uh, there, and he brought them to me. Yeah, it is nice. I'm trying to, I kind of want to do the same thing with like the lights here, but I don't think I want lights. I mean, I don't want to use hot pink. I could use yellow, but there's a lot of yellow going on. We could try for orange and do like a really light yellow and then come back with the pink after. Why not? This is like turning into kind of a sunset theme. Oh, thank you, Nasir. YouTube House of YouTube. I love it. I just noticed that there's YouTube emojis. I'd never seen those before. I guess that's like a play button. Yeah, I'm now just kind of like adding in some of these other colors I've used just as a, like in kind of random splotches where I know there's supposed to be shadow. I think like that's kind of how shadow works. It's like sort of, it's all these like reflections and random colors. All right. Okay, I'm gonna come in with the yellow and do the like more saturated, more intense sides of these. Start giving them some depth. I think like this is one of my favorite parts of doing any kind of art, is this moment where you come in and you start like doing the touches that make it really stand out and like feel like quality and like feel good. I think like really good shading can totally change the perception of a piece, even if everything else is exactly the same. Like beautiful shading can, it's like in music. If you have a really good drummer, like you can get away with a lot. It'll totally change the quality of a band. And I feel the same. If you have really good shading, it'll totally change the quality of a art piece. Thanks, Nasir. Thanks for stopping in. Take care. Okay. I'll probably cut it off at 10 for me, which is about 20 minutes. But there's still plenty to do. You have a nice day. So I think last time, and I think I'll do it this time too, I painted these arms like a blue. I wonder if I have my white ink, because it would be great to do like a blue and then like a little white to like sort of make it look like metal. I could try to leave little white spots like paper behind it. Actually, I think that does look good, like leaving a little paper. And I could mix up like just a gray, I guess. That's sort of what well, it's like what I've used the pencil for. I tried really hard on this one to not pencil shade. I still did it in a lot of places, but it's old habits die hard. All right. Yeah, I like this blue for just like the plain workaday metal. Especially as like with the paper as the highlights. It looks really nice. All right. Looking good. Looking good. I just saw there was an interview with Seth. Is it Seth? Not Seth Meyers. He's the comedian. The guy who did Family Guy and wrote for The Simpsons. That guy. Seth, whatever his name is. And he was talking about, he did The Orville, which is like kind of a Star Trek sort of show. And he was explaining to somebody why he decided to do the Orville. No, it's, he does like the voice of Brian. He's the creator of, oh, McFarlane. And actually, people, they were talking about like the state of TV today and the state of the media today. And he was saying like, he felt like no one was doing hopeful anymore. Yeah, exactly. Like crazy that I couldn't think of him. That nobody was being doing hopeful television anymore, and like that when he was younger, like there was so much hopeful TV, and that's why he made the Orville, which is like Star Trek, but like really hopeful, which modern Star Trek somehow like missed up on. I'm gonna do this like is this red brown that I mixed for something else? Um, because I want this to be like sort of rusted and falling apart and very I want it to like have a look. And I just thought that was interesting because I hadn't really thought about how television wasn't really hopeful anymore, and like I don't know how. Like I do think Like there is new Star Trek out now, which is Strange New World, and I think that is pretty hopeful. They have a pretty standard original series Star Trek, or the Next Generation, even Star Trek message. Um, but just in large part, I was thinking about how hope and television are linked. Yeah, yeah. Uh, I went back. I watched some modern shows, but not as much as I used to. But I find myself going back all the way to the '60s and watching old television. Like I watched Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie. I watched most of I Love Lucy. I watched the original Twilight Zone and some of those like old anthology shows. And I don't know, just I don't know if they're more hopeful, but they're certainly more. I don't know, something. Now maybe it's just my naivety of the time, right? So like maybe it feels more hopeful because I don't know enough about what was going on to be like, oh no, that's a terrible joke or whatever. That's like a terrible commentary on like the world that they live in. I'm trying to think 90s TV show. I mean, I watched a lot of cartoons. One of my favorite TV shows of all time is Batman the Animated Series. That's 1994. This red is really beautiful. This is a deep red. I gotta do something just with that. Not mixed with something. Is Sabrina the Teenage Witch from the 90s? I watched that. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to. That's what I'm going for. Yeah, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Great show. I did rewatch a lot of that, but it just didn't. It didn't hit the same. But it was fun to rewatch. I remembered a lot of them. Actually, I might have rewatched the whole thing. Uh, yeah, I remembered a lot of them. I remember being scared of a lot of them, which was fun. So now I'm using the actual brush to sort of create a randomer, more randomer, a randomer texture. I feel like it just was reminding me like this is definitely something that is so different. Like you can mimic it on digital, but it is so different. It's like a different I don't know, even with the drawing tablet and stuff and like creating different brushes, it's not the same. It's not bad or good. It's just something else that's different about it. Yeah, Snick, man. That's something else like Salute Your Shorts. Yeah, amazing. Somebody was pointing out that one thing that's really different about modern TV is like you don't have like Saturday night TV doesn't really make sense as a concept anymore. Okay, I just took like a really light brown that's very watered down, and I'm running it over all of the places where I had rust and like done that, just as a way to like hopefully mix it in, kind of make it uh, break up some of the edges that I've put in, and sort of just make it seem like random and old and rusty, and I think it worked. Yeah, I'm trying to think. That's more my speed. So we have some just soaps, like for adults, that have been going on forever and ever, but I don't think they're actually, I don't know how popular they are or not. Yeah, I'm trying to think like it might be kind of like a semi-serious sitcom, something like that. Um, I don't know what color these rocks were. I just mixed some with the rusty red brown. I just mixed some yellow. I thought it would be nice to. These rocks, like, I accidentally drew circles when I was like going to sleep, and I buried some halfway in the ground. Like, all this I drew as I was going to bed, and I don't remember drawing it at all. And then I was like, that's such a weird detail to put, like, these, like, circular-ish weirdo rocks, or maybe seeds or something. But I like them. I left them in. Yeah, so we have like very cheesy, but they we have All My Children, General Hospital, and they run sort of middle of the day, and they're widely considered uh, sort of like pulp entertainment, like not bad. People think they have a good for what they are, but just I don't know. Yeah, so I do think the closest would be All My Children, uh, maybe like Dallas. We do have one. Uh, no, 'cause it's really, really high production values. I mean, it's definitely General Hospital on My Children. They've been running for tons of years. I think there's one more that I never remember. And they are definitely soaps. And from my understanding, similar to Corey, but not quite as good writing, not quite as like culturally, it doesn't have the cultural cachet. So like it has a different reception. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like very similar. Then I think Dallas was sort of based on that. In fact, I know it was. And like Who Shot JR, that whole thing, Dallas, that was a spin-off of one of the soaps. And it became like this one of the most popular pieces of television ever. It's very interesting. So we also have these like soaps in like kind of that era, that family tree, where you have like sort of the same idea. It's a cast of characters, people come and go. You have the guest stars, the same locations, but it's like now it's written with this like intrigue or politics or sometimes even like murder or something like that. But it's still very much the same like soap opera format, but it gets a higher budget. stuff like that. So like I haven't watched it, but my understanding of Yellowstone is similar to that. It's like Dallas, like it inherits its style and stuff from Dallas, where it has a lot of, or Succession is kind of like that. And I think most adults, if they're watching something soapy, are watching that. Oh, that's yeah. We watch a lot of British television. Our favorite quiz show is Only Connect. Um, I mean, we really like Taskmaster. I think a lot of people really like Taskmaster. I was just watching. Oh gosh, uh, it's on Channel 4. Jimmy Carr hosts it. Oh. 8 out of 10 cats does countdown. I used to not like comedy at all, and then I started watching British panel shows, and then I was like, okay, things can be funny and on TV, and that really opened me up to watching other TV. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, it it's my preferred. It's like what I was taught in my family as a kid. Like I was always making jokes in school and stuff, and people would be like, "God, what's your problem?" And I'm like, "It's just, it's it's normal sarcasm. What do you mean?" Uh, so I don't know what it was about my family, but when I found British comedy and British television, I was like, "Oh, thank God." Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite comedy shows, television shows of all time is Hugh and Laurie. What is the do they does their show have like a subtitle? But you know the comedy show Hugh and Laurie did. I even like went back and listened to a lot of the radio plays they did too. I'm just doing all the like metal struts and stuff that I think I'm gonna leave like blue while I have the blue out. Yeah, just like here because I'm gonna finish up soon. Let this dry. I'm not planning on streaming tomorrow. There's a small chance, but I think I think I'm gonna plan on not streaming tomorrow. Just try to get ahead of this moving. If I can if I can do some good packing, some good existing. Yeah, yeah. I shouldn't have streamed today, but I finished the line work on this and I really wanted to paint it. And then I was like, I might as well paint it on stream. And then I was like, I might as well stream. But I'm really happy with it. I'm like, this. You were saying it's coming alive. I'm agreeing. It's very. There's something about it now. Oh yeah, yeah. Thanks for watching. I love. I did not think I would like this. It was something I wanted to try for a while. Streaming, streaming my drawing, streaming my painting. Uh, I've gotten better and better at it. It's something I've been practicing. I do every day, and I was like, oh, it could be really nice to like share with like I love watching when people do like, oh, I draw X every day. And I love like watching those videos. And so I was really excited to try it at least. And I do like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, I'm just sort of anything that I think will be like more or less a solid color. I just kind of want to get that down and out of the way now so it can like dry a little bit. I messed this one up. I did not have enough ink on my brush, I think. All right. It does seem to be drying pretty flat, so I'm happy with that. Uh, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be working on this for the next couple of days, so I will work on it again on stream. I will be doing some streaming before we actually move, uh, but not tomorrow. What's today? Monday. So not Tuesday. I'll, I'll aim for doing like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I'll probably take the whole next week off, and then we'll move and we'll get set up, and that'll be really fun. I'm very excited to get into a new workspace. Last time we moved, I was like, it really destroyed me. And I felt like it was the first time I had ever felt really comfortable and really like I had a permanent setup workspace in my whole life. And so when we moved, I think I thought like, oh, I'll never have that again. Like it's not, it'll never be as good, and I've lost something really special. But I have this, and it is really great. And like, does it have everything as good as the old place? Not quite, but it has different things, and some of those are better. And so I will have a new space, and it'll have different things, and some of those will be better. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Melon. Thanks for everybody who supports and watches, and we'll work on this together in a few days. Check out, I'll post in a community tab. Awesome, you too. I'll post just the line work. And in the Discord, I'll post the line work too if you're in there. Bye. Subscribe, get me to 300. He's gonna crash the boat.